In 2024, over 8,800 ADA Title III lawsuits were filed in federal courts. That represents a 7% increase, targeting organizations across the digital landscape. The legal pressure is compounding. On April 24, 2024, the Department of Justice finalized a rule under Title II of the ADA, specifically mandating compliance for state and local governments. This establishes strict deadlines. Public entities with populations of 50,000 or more must comply by April 2026, and smaller jurisdictions have until April 2027. The core legal precedent here classifies websites and mobile apps as places of public accommodation. The exact same laws requiring physical wheelchair ramps also apply to digital storefronts and government portals. The legal and operational benchmark used by the courts to judge this accessibility is the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, specifically version 2.1 Level AA. Yet, despite these clear definitions and billions of dollars spent on compliance services, the vast majority of digital spaces remain non-compliant. This visualization represents the top 1 million website homepages. Current empirical data shows that approximately 95% of them exhibit detectable failures under those exact WCAG standards. This failure rate indicates the current regulatory approach is structurally broken. It fails the 1.3 billion disabled individuals globally who rely on assistive technologies to navigate the internet. The burden of this broken system falls disproportionately on local entities, small businesses, hardware stores, and workforce schools. Under Title III, which applies to private businesses, small owners operate without a legal safe harbor or a standardized federal toolkit, leaving them entirely exposed to targeted demand letters. The economic fallout is immediate. Settlements typically cost between $5,000 and $20,000, while total legal fees easily exceed $50,000. Many businesses then fall into a repeat lawsuit trap. They implement surface-level widget overlays that fail to correct the underlying source code, prompting a secondary lawsuit within months. Owners are forced to abandon their core mission to learn the technical intricacies of ARIA roles and contrast ratios. Traditional ADA compliance relies on bespoke, manual human intervention. This makes it structurally unscalable, acting as a regressive tax that limits market participation for smaller organizations. Solving this requires a shift away from manual remediation. By adopting AI-native infrastructure, organizations decouple the volume of their web content from the actual cost of making it accessible. The traditional model of accessibility remediation is a human capital problem. It requires scarce developer expertise to manually comb through and rewrite lines of code. This equation calculates the cost of that manual labor. The total cost equals the fixed initial audit fee plus the volume of pages multiplied by manual labor plus maintenance and legal risk. That fixed cost for a comprehensive manual audit of just a few dozen pages usually runs between $5,000 and $15,000. Then we factor in linear variable costs, manual labor multiplied by page count. Alt text costs $5 per image. Video captioning runs $10 per minute. For an institution with 250 pages, this manual remediation reaches $65,000 in the first year alone. A $20,000 compliance bill is a crushing 2% tax on a local business earning $1 million in revenue. For a billion-dollar enterprise, that same bill is a negligible 0.02% rounding error. The math scales linearly. The more content an organization creates, the higher the financial penalty, permanently gating digital inclusion behind a prohibitive price wall. The AI-native model replaces specialized human labor with automated processing. By deploying artificial intelligence, organizations bypass the human labor bottleneck. This equation replaces massive fixed audit costs with a flat monthly subscription. AI processing takes over manual labor, driving the marginal cost per page to fractions of a penny. This flattens the curve, dropping a 250-page site's first-year cost from $65,000 down to $4,800. This generates a 95% reduction in initial labor hours and up to 92.6% reduction in total first-year expenditures. By shifting the economics to a logarithmic curve, AI infrastructure mathematically democratizes compliance. Small entities stop paying for expensive code audits and reallocate tens of thousands of dollars directly into their core missions. How does this technology actually operate without writing custom HTML code? It relies on multimodal transformation. Instead of manually auditing a technical checklist, an AI system ingests a single static source document and dynamically alters it into whatever format the user needs in real time. Institutions like the Louisville Beauty Academy have pioneered this operational framework through the implementation of the TRAN AI-HEAD model. First, generative vision models instantly analyze complex infographics and output precise descriptive text, removing the need for developers to write manual tags. The second pathway is automated audio narration. Advanced voice models instantly convert text articles into high-fidelity podcasts, serving users with visual impairments or dyslexia. The third pathway uses large language models to process dense vocational content, generating immediate, plain language adaptations designed for cognitive accessibility and multilingual users. This chart shows how these pathways culminate in a unified conversational interface. The central source document branches directly into an audio waveform, a cognitive adaptation list, and a fully interactive chatbot. Through the AI-HEAD, users bypass complicated site menus altogether. They ask the interface verbally, "How do I renew my license?" and receive a direct, localized answer in their preferred language. This framework turns accessibility from an invisible, static legal obligation into highly visible, highly adaptive communication infrastructure. The technology is ready, but current federal regulatory frameworks still mandate strict technical conformance over functional human outcomes. Protecting small businesses from litigation requires an AI accessibility safe harbor championed by federal entities like the Small Business Administration. The Department of Justice must adopt a standard of outcome-based equivalent facilitation. If an AI interface allows a disabled user to efficiently buy a product or access a service, the business should be deemed legally compliant and immune to private litigation. Second, federal agencies like the Department of Labor must fund the creation of an open-source accessibility API to subsidize these translation and audio tools for nonprofits and workforce schools. Finally, the IRS Section 44 Disabled Access Credit should be expanded up to $25,000, specifically earmarked for investments in AI-native infrastructure. Without these specific policy shifts, small businesses will remain legally trapped, forced to pay for obsolete manual fixes rather than deploying modern communication tools. Projecting forward over the next decade, we are moving toward an era of post-source remediation. By 2030, AI agents will fix structural accessibility issues directly inside the user's browser in real time, immunizing the web against underlying coding errors. By 2035, websites will no longer function as static documents. They will act as dynamic agents. For a user with low vision, the site is a voice. For a user in a loud room, it is clear, high-contrast captions. Ultimately, the marginal cost of digital accessibility will reach zero. It will become a built-in feature of every web engine, functioning seamlessly in the background, just like spellcheck does today. Viewing AI as public communication infrastructure allows us to turn the legal burden of accessibility into a universal,